I'm Sal.
I'm Beth.
We're the Brewery Lovers. First state exploring breweries with the Ekko was...
The first state, Delaware.
Delaware. Hey, we're in Delaware. Actually, we're not in Delaware.
We were in Delaware.
We were in Delaware. Ocean City, New Jersey is dry. And it attracts a lot of tourists in the summer. So when you drive to Ocean City, New Jersey, there's 4 ways to get in, right? Mm-hmm. There's 2 main ways to get in. 2, not 4. 2 main ways to get in. And at the foot of each of those bridges are the biggest liquor stores you've ever seen.
Well, except
maybe State Line. Yeah, State Line's pretty big. This was the biggest one I'd seen when I was a kid, that's for sure. The first time I came here, I think I was just legal, maybe 18. Anyway, it's a liquor store with a view. You're at the Boulevard Super Liquors in Marmora, New Jersey, a landmark if anybody who's ever been to Ocean City. The other one, of course, is Circle in Summers Point. We're in the more southern of the 2. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, farther south. Anyway, so did a bunch of breweries in Delaware. It's going to be a lot of videos coming up on that. Do you want to tell them all the breweries that we did?
Sure.
Wait, we need beer.
Oh, we do, because it's warm in here.
It's Delaware, so we're doing Delaware beer.
Not just any Delaware
Not just any Delaware beer. Dogfish Head 60 IPA. What we learned is that this should have been a Maine beer because Sam Calagione, the founder of Dogfish Head, grew up in right? Grew up in Massachusetts, and then
Milford, Massachusetts, his family moved to.
And then his family moved to... his family vacationed in Maine, which is where Dogfish Head comes from. Dogfish Head Lake.
There's a lighthouse there, I think.
Boy, that's a nice looking beer, isn't it? And he wanted to build the brewery in Dogfish Head. In fact, when he told his parents, I want to build a brewery, they said, well, that's fine, as long as you do it in Maine. Well, then he married Mariah. Fell in love with Mariah, ended up marrying her. Mariah's from Delaware. And the rest is history, as they say.
Smart lady.
You know, it's still a darn good IPA. This is a old school, really. Original, what do they call it? OG? This is from the 90s, I'll bet. Probably one of the first craft IPAs you could buy.
Yep.
On this side of the pond. And it's definitely not hazy, tropical, fruity New England. This is a straight ahead IPA. It's super dry. It's got quite a nice bitterness to it.
Continuously hopped. That's going to come up later.
We'll talk about that. Tell them about... wait, we didn't... cheers.
Oh,
Good
cheers.
luck. Tell them the breweries that we visited.
Okay. For that, I need reading glasses. Mm-hmm. We took the ferry from New Jersey, from Cape May, New Jersey, down to Lewis, Delaware. So that's where we started our journey. And we visited Thompson Island Brewing Company, Big Oyster Brewing, Crooked Hammock Brewing, Revelation Craft Brewing, Fordham and Dominion Brewing Company, Blue Earl Brewing Company, Mispillion River Brewing, First State Brewing Company, Volunteer Brewing Company, Jackal Beer Works, Autumn Arch Beer Project, and Midnight Oil Brewing Company, where we also spent the night. They were our harvest host. We've been to a couple others in Wilmington on other trips, but they won't be included in this video because we weren't doing videos then.
Yeah, maybe later. Did you mention Dogfish Head?
Oh, yeah, and Dogfish Head.
You go to Delaware, you have to go to Dogfish Head. It's the Mecca, of course. I was thinking all these breweries we went to, and we didn't even hit them all. We only hit a fraction. But
a large fraction.
A large fraction, yeah. But I thought if I ever talk to Sam again, we met Sam a couple of years ago, the question that I would love to ask him is, how do you feel about this explosion of craft beer in Delaware? Because he was one of the first, right? If not the first?
He was the first. It was Delaware's first brew pub.
In Rehoboth Beach.
And that opened in June of 1995.
95, right. We went down there. That was the first time we met Sam. We went down there and just said hi and tried the beer. He was brewing, so we kind of watched him work and asked him a bunch of dumb questions.
On his cute little system.
His cute little 10-gallon system.
12 gallon batches. Which he was doing 12-gallon batches. He was brewing 3 times a day, 5 days a week. But because the batches were so small, he could do all kinds of experimentation, which is why they have such an unusual product line.
That was definitely part of the heritage of Dogfish Head's weirdness. What do they say? Off-centered ales or something?
For off-centered people.
Yeah. So, like weird wood aging.
Unusual ingredients.
Yeah, heirloom yeasts. They got Saul Katz or one of those guys from University of Pennsylvania. They got yeast out of a mummy's tomb or something. Yeah, just crazy ingredients, fruit. Sam was always on the forefront of just wacky stuff in beer, and then now everybody's doing it. But back then, it was weird. It was unheard of to go to a brewery and find apricot beer, or I can't even think of some of the other examples. So when you go to Delaware, you got to go to Dogfish Head. I mean, come on, look at this place. I don't know the story of this old Jeep, but it's pretty neat.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's either a Jeep or a Dodge truck. You're in a seriously big brewery when the fermenters are outside. And this is the treehouse. Beth's going to tell you about
Steampunk Treehouse. It was originally debuted at a Burning Man event in August of 2007, and it became part of the landscape of Dogfish Head in
Milton.
In Milton, and I have a date here, June of 2010.
But they didn't build it. They just
didn't
liked
build it. They found it. Somehow Sam found it, and it was looking for a permanent home.
Yeah.
The thing is 40 feet tall, 40 feet wide, weighs 8 tons.
It's quite a landmark.
And it's used as like a meeting room for the Dogfish Head staff.
So if you're not familiar with the story, they opened this little tiny brew pub in Rehoboth Beach, but then of course as the beer got more and more popular, they needed to make more, so they built a full-scale production facility out in Milton. What is it, about 15-20 minutes from Rehoboth? It's not that far,
Yeah, it's
right?
not far.
Yeah, it's pretty close. And of course you can do both, because the nice thing about going to the Rehoboth Beach location is you get all the wacky stuff, because that's where they do their experimentation and developing new recipes. Really nice tasting room. It's big. Gift shop, of course. Ginormous gift shop where you can buy all the bottle products. They had a lot of cool stuff up on the walls. They did a nice job with decoration. It's a nice, comfortable place. It's a really everything's clean and sort of nice and professional looking. Not every brewery does that. Super nice tasting room.
They offer 2 different tours. One is called the Quick Sip. That's about 25 minutes long. That's the one we did. The other one is a full hour long. It's called the Off-Centered Tour. And
we did that years ago. We didn't do it this time because we were trying to hit so many different breweries that we didn't want to invest in the time.
Now that tour also includes part of the distillery.
Yeah.
Because they have branched into distilling.
They distill now.
Do gin, rum, and vodka.
But the short tour is nice because you get to see the new brew house. You'll see that in a sec. Here's the Randall. Beth will tell you all about the Randall.
So the Randall is a 2-chambered, it's an infusion device. So it allows draft beer to come in and through a product that you want to add that flavor to the beer.
Into the glass as you're dispensing.
Yes. So the draft beer comes through the flavoring agent, and then it goes into the glass. And he initially started using that with hops, but then realized he could put almost anything in there. So, for example, the American Homebrew Association did an article where they recommended using hops, coffee beans, peppers, herbs, and fruit.
Yeah.
But anything goes. I think we had.
We know a brewery that did
those sweet cereal products.
Yeah,
It came
Teddy
through.
Grahams.
Teddy Grahams.
Teddy Grahams. Yeah,
Teddy
I think that was Ludlow Island.
Yeah. So anything you can imagine, you could stick in the Randall, and it's going to infuse.
And in typical Dogfish fashion, they built this thing, and then everybody wanted one, so they started building them and selling them to homebrew supply stores. I don't know if they still do, but
there's a YouTube video
we'll
that
give you the link.
Sam did, so you can look that up.
Kind of similar to what Sierra Nevada did with the Torpedo, but that was hot work going through the hops for extra aroma. Same idea. Just basically you're using the flavoring ingredient as a filter medium, and it flavors the beer on its way in this case, on its way to the glass. Everybody we met was super nice. Our tour guide was also our beer tender, and he was very knowledgeable and very nice. All the shark pull handles, of course.
There's a huge selection.
It's a nice thing about going to the Milton, either of these. You find beers that you don't get out in the shops, and that's typical of any brewery. You go to the brewery and you get kind of the full portfolio of what's available. And whereas if you go to a bottle shop, you'll always be able to find 60 because that's their flagship, but you're not going to find some of the weird, wacky stuff, experimental stuff, beer made with experimental hops and ingredients and that kind of thing. You can see there's a whole column there, R&D beer, and those are the ones we recommend because you're not going to find them again unless they develop them and really put them into distribution.
That's the new T-shirt.
But yeah, we should talk about the T-shirts. Can you see the little logo there? So this was kind of it was a gift. We didn't pursue this. We got a Christmas gift from a very good friend of ours. Been friends forever.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie. And it was T-shirts and hoodies with our
the logo
on it. Pretty cool.
She had them done at Flying Fish Studios in Westgate, May.
Westgate, May, right. So you did a brewery tour. You get to see the old new brewery. They've got quite a few iterations of breweries there. This logo is made from oval bumper stickers. Pretty cool. Very clever. But the new brewery is just beautiful. I mean, look at this place. It reminded me of Guinness in Dublin. A little bit smaller. But this giant room with the kettles sort of protruding from the floor. Most of the kettles down below you. And it's a working brewery. I mean, that's why everybody's wearing safety glasses. Here's Sam's original system. This is a 12 gallon Sabco. This is standard homebrew setup. This is a replica because I think the original's in the Smithsonian, isn't it?
I think it is, yes.
Yeah. So you see on the left there, Sir Hops a Lot. That was the
second iteration.
Yeah, second
of
or
his
third
continuous hopping.
generation of the continuous hopping thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it's amazing when you think this is where they started and where are they today. And we saw Sam Brewing on that system, not that one, but the real one. And but it's a beautiful brewery. It just these kettles protruding from the floor. Most of them are below, and stuff's happening. As I said, it's a working brewery, so you sort of
there was actually stuff going on in there.
Going on, as you can see. They got a lot of beer to make because they got a lot of demand. Here's Beth taking a peek. But yeah, we all had to wear safety glasses because there's like steam vents opening. It's very noisy. And okay, here's the football table. This is crazy. I knew this because we took the tour years ago, but I had forgotten all about it. So Sam was watching the Food Network or some cooking show, and there's a chef making soup, right? And he wanted to highlight black pepper.
Right.
He wanted the black pepper to really be a significant flavor component of the soup. But black pepper can be spicy, and it also has a lot of other flavor notes. So the way he accomplished it was to put black pepper in the whole time. Like the whole time he made this soup, whether it was 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, he just kept adding more and more black pepper. So it's very similar to what you do with hops. Traditionally, you hop in the beginning of the boil. We're going to nerd out here for a minute. Say it's a 60-minute boil, you're making beer. You put hops in the beginning, you're going to get nothing but bitterness from those hops.
Flavor.
Bitterness in the beginning, if they're in for 60 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. In the middle, 30 minutes, 45, you're going to get more flavor. At the end, 45, 50, 55 minutes in, you're going to get aroma when you add those hops. And then Sam saw that cooking show, and he's like, wait a minute, maybe we can hop continuously. So this is hysterical. I love this story. He drills holes in a 5-gallon bucket, fills it with hops, puts the bucket on top of an old-fashioned vibrating football game. If you're under 50, 40 maybe, you probably have no idea what we're talking about. Everybody had one. It was a piece of sheet metal that vibrated. And you little tiny football players went on top, and you plugged it in and turned it on, and the football players basically went aimlessly in circles. I mean, the instructions claimed you could do stuff to make, your quarterback do this and your running back do that. No, they just buzz bowl. So he used that vibrating mechanism from this football game, put the bucket on top. We'll link to the video. And he made a beer that was hopped continuously. The whole, if it was 60 minutes, obviously.
Basically this.
Yeah, 60-minute boil. And the hops went in a little at a time from minute 0 to minute 60. And it's pretty clever, really. It was as far as anybody knows, it was the first time that anybody had done that. It's a nice tour. I mean, it's all about Sam, which is, that can be annoying sometimes. But, I mean, he created this.
I didn't think it was annoying. I was amazed at all the ingenuity and creativity that goes into this.
It's true, yeah. He really is a pioneer.
They are both pioneers. He and Mariah.
Both.
Yeah,
Mariah
they built this business from the bottom
up. And Mariah
up.
doesn't get much credit. Sam's always the one who gets all the accolades.
She's the quiet behind the scenes person.
Mariah she's been there from day 0, and big part of it. Anyway, great place to visit. The beer, of course, is off the charts. You can get bad beer at Dogfish Head. That's part of the fun. You go and you try one of the experimental ones. They're like, yeah.
Just not your thing.
It won't be badly made, though. You may not like it, but it will not be badly made. But lots of breweries in Delaware, lots of great beer in Delaware, and we're going to cover it all. So stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe.
Cheers.
Cheers.